Since it is Survivor Series season, we're going to continue with the Survivor Series style videos because today I'm booking my 2024 Fantasy Dream matchup if we were to do a Survivor Series match between Team AEW and Team WWE. And we're going to be making dream teams from both the men's and the women's division as well. And I'm going to try and explain the logic as to why I'm picking certain people over others as well. And I like these videos because the comment section starts to play along and tells me what their dream teams would be, so definitely please leave your teams in the comments. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And if you want even more daily content, don't forget the Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap. Over there, we upload about 13 extra videos every single week that never get uploaded to YouTube, so go check it out. The link will be in the description for you. The link will be in the pinned comment, but let's get started with the video now. So let's start things off by talking about the women of Team WWE. Now, for this team, I wanted to have a very specific theme in place, and that theme being that WWE has an incredibly deep and an incredibly diverse roster when it comes to female wrestlers. And when I'm talking about diversity, I'm not just talking from talent being all over the world, but I'm also talking about talent having different styles of professional wrestling that has been honed in different parts of the world. So we're going to start off with arguably WWE's most recognizable face at the moment from the women's division, that being Rhea Ripley. She brings that diversity, being an international talent from Australia, but also bringing that unique big woman, powerful bruiser style of professional wrestling, which has become more popular across various wrestling organizations. I'm not saying that Rhea Ripley was the one that popularized it, but Rhea Ripley was one of the pioneers of this style of professional wrestling, at the very least at the WWE level. And Rhea Ripley is also one of the most marketable, most recognizable faces, not just in the WWE, but in just all of professional wrestling in general. Let's not forget that this is a woman that the WWE has allowed to main event PLE. She's on the poster of PLEs. And on top of that, she's in the bloody video game cover. So if WWE wants to showcase their best in-ring talent, they should also probably showcase their most marketable talent as well. And one of those is, of course, Rhea Ripley. She's also incredibly good at playing whichever role is given to her, whether it's babyface, whether it's heel. She's just really good all around. I feel like this has to be an obvious choice for anybody making one of these WWE versus AEW dream teams. On top of that, because it's Rhea Ripley and how popular she is and how liked she is one of those names that people often throw out there that they want to see in AEW versus WWE dream matches. So I'm not going to rob the people of that if I'm booking this team. Sticking with diversity, one of the things that WWE currently has that AEW doesn't, that they should absolutely showcase here, is women's tag team wrestling. Now, for all of the infinite seeming belts that AEW has, one of them that they don't have is a women's tag team championship belt. So women's tag team wrestling is unique to WWE when we're comparing WWE versus AEW. And of course, I wasn't gonna miss out on an opportunity to have WWE flaunt a former AEW talent that they poached from AEW and putting them in this scenario. Of course I'm gonna do that. And we talked about the popularity of Rhea Ripley, and arguably the only person that surpasses that popularity with the mainstream fan base is Bianca Belair. And like, when you think of like WWE people, Bianca Belair is at the top of the list when it comes to the most WWE of WWE as it gets. And with her having been at the top of the food chain for so long in women's wrestling in the WWE, she's also another one of those names that is consistently thrown around in those potential dream matches. And you're going to see that with Team AEW, not only does this put Bianca Belair in a position to have once in a lifetime encounters, but also a reunion of another encounter that people would love to see. But yeah, just the combination of how popular these two are, the fact that similar to Rhea Ripley, they bring that big, powerful bruiser style of professional wrestling, the fact that they are the representation of women's tag team wrestling in the WWE, which is something that AEW currently doesn't have. I think that they are great representatives to have in Team WWE. Let's go back to demonstrating how diverse the pool of talent is in the WWE WWE by grabbing arguably the best in-ring talent that the WWE has on the main roster, that being Io Sky, that brings that Japanese Joshi style into the ring. Now, AEW has their own Japanese female wrestlers, which bring this similar style to the ring, but even the ones that AEW has, in my personal opinion, just don't hold a candle to how good Io Sky is. She may not have that marketability stateside like a Rhea Ripley, like a Bianca Belair, but she's marketable in different ways because she is just such a great representation as to how goddamn good women's wrestling is in 2024. I also feel like Io Sky is a beacon of hope, a demonstration that WWE has now gotten good at booking international talent where English isn't their first language, because before Triple H, it was bad, folks. But now, rather than leaning on foreign stereotypes, they're just letting talent like Io Sky absolutely cook in the ring and letting fans fall in love with her body of work. And last but not least, I wanted to get funky here. There's a lot of names from the main roster I could definitely put in this position, but again, I want to showcase what's unique about the WWE. This is a unique situation because we have a Chilean talent that brings the Mexican lucha style of CMLL into the ring, but also she is a representation of what's to come in the WWE because she's part of the developmental system, Stephanie Vaquer from NXT. In my opinion, out of the women in NXT, and no disrespect to Julia, I think Stephanie Vaquer is the best current talent that they have from an in-ring perspective. On top of that, if WWE wants to be petty, they can flaunt Stephanie Vaquer because this is the talent that got away from AEW. Remember, AEW had her. Like, they had her in their hands during Forbidden Door in the match against Mercedes Moné, and WWE, swooped in and stole her and signed her. So in Stephanie Vaquer, we have somebody that brings a different flavor in terms of professional wrestling, in terms of that Mexican style and that Latin American style, but we also have somebody that is a showcase of how deep the women's roster is on NXT and really in WWE in general. So I really like this pick, but again, this kind of could have gone to like 7 different women that are top of mind. But I wanted to create this unique identity for this team, and I felt like Stephanie Vaquer fit this identity the best. Now, with Team AEW, the narrative here is that I wanted to highlight the best of AEW while also highlighting some that are flourishing in AEW that weren't allowed to flourish in WWE. So really, the narrative here is to demonstrate that the grass is also green somewhere else when it comes to women's professional wrestling, that you don't have to just go to the WWE. And one of those representations is Mercedes Moné, the former Sasha Banks, which I know a lot of people do not like these days, but she's making bank in AEW. She's one of their most marketable stars over there. Whether you want to be marketed by her or not, it's happening. This would also allow us to reunite that awesome feud between Mercedes Moné and Bianca Belair that took place at WrestleMania 37 all of those years ago, and it allows Mercedes Moné to have these dream matches with women that have now really stepped up into the WWE system since she's left. But similar to Jade Cargill, I wasn't going to miss out an opportunity to allow AEW to showcase one of those people that got away from the WWE. And as much as people have turned on Mercedes Moné, she is still incredibly marketable, incredibly popular, and it would create a lot of holy shit moments with pretty much any face-off that she could have with any of the people in Team WWE. And damn it, I would love to see a little back and forth again between her and Stephanie Vaquer from Forbidden Door. If you want to talk about talent that has flourished outside of the grimy little fingers of Vince McMahon, look no further than Timeless Toni Storm. This is a person, a gimmick that just wouldn't work in the WWE before Triple H took over, and I have a hard time believing that Triple H himself could book a character like Timeless Toni Storm as well as she's been booked in AEW. Timeless Toni Storm has been a breath of fresh air. This is something that's actually new in the world world of mainstream professional wrestling, and she has played this character so incredibly well that to me, she's an undeniable presence in women's professional wrestling that would be a crime to leave off of this list. And as I've already said, she fits that identity of the grass is green somewhere else. And for her, not only was it green somewhere else, but it was just flat out greener because she just wasn't being used very well in the WWE system when she was there. Willow Nightingale is such an obvious choice for me on this team. Like, she just has amazing match after amazing match after amazing match. Obviously, in terms of chemistry with the team between her and Mercedes Moné, it's probably not ideal, but really, we don't really care about chemistry. We're just trying to put together the best team possible here. And this is a brand new, unique name for the ladies of WWE to square off against, because Willow Nightingale is somebody that just has never been in the WWE system. So this gives us brand new, unique matches that we've never seen before. And because frankly, she's been used and booked so well in AEW, I could see a world where she never jumps ship to the WWE. So the only way that we could see these potential dream face-offs is in this scenario by inserting Willow Nightingale here. I think that this is a choice that most AEW fans and just wrestling fans in general would probably agree with and are probably just saying, duh, obviously. Athena, the formerly known as Ember Moon, if you didn't know, she's been absolutely cooking, not under the traditional AEW banner, but under the Ring of Honor Women's Champion, where she is on a legendary run right now of over 700 days as champion. Now, if we brought in Stephanie Vaquer to showcase a different side of the WWE, the developmental system of NXT, I think it's only fair that we do the same thing for AEW and showcase their other brand, and to showcase the jewel in the top of the pecking order of that other brand in Ring of Honor, that being Athena. She's also, just like Toni Storm, one of those that outside of NXT and in the main roster just really wasn't able to flourish under the regime that she was a part of, but under Tony Khan, Ring of Honor, AEW, she's really revitalized herself. Athena matches are a treat. If you missed out on them because she's part of the Ring of Honor brand and you don't really know how to watch Ring of Honor because admittedly it's difficult in certain parts of the world, look it up. You're gonna be treated to a nice set of wrestling matches with her. And last but not least, maybe like the most obviously decision is Mariah May, the current AEW Women's World Champion, who has just been on an excellent run, especially during her chase for the Women's World Championship. I'm telling you, her feud with Timeless Toni Storm, when I make my end of the year awards of best feuds of the year, I have to strongly consider Mariah May versus Timeless Toni Storm at the top of the list. And that might shock you because I don't cover AEW here on this channel, but I watch AEW every week. I just typically don't make videos on the brand. If you want to know why, when I've tried, they just don't get very many views, all right? So you guys speak with your views. It is what it is. Mariah May is one of those talents that got away from the WWE. She's in her 20s. She has so much future left ahead of her. Not only is she great in the now, but she's a great representation of what AEW has in store for the future of women's professional wrestling for their brand. And they're probably going to build that around the growth of Mariah May. And even though she's still young, to me, there are just so many dream match face-offs already available for her across the ring on Team WWE that I want to see them as soon as possible. That's what happens when you use real glass. Oh my God! What? Yo, with a tombstone? Oh my God.
No, that's even worse.
That, folks, was a sneak peek of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, available exclusively over on patreon.com/Santizan. This week, we're going to be looking at the wild supermarket brawl between Booker T and Stone Cold Steve Austin. We have a match for the TNA World title between AJ Styles and Bully Ray. We're looking at the carnage that was King of the Ring 2001 between Shane McMahon and Kurt Angle. We're once again going to Japan, watching Io Sky take on Utami in Maryland Marigold in 2024. And we're wrapping up the week with the instant classic that was Walter versus Ilya Dragunov for the NXT UK title. You're going to be getting these watch-alongs alongside the Undertaker Streak watch-along, the Royal Rumble watch-along, the Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, and the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days earlier than everywhere else. We've also just launched a Patreon exclusive Discord page where this week we're going to be watching Ready to Rumble together as a community. So if you want to get access to all of this, which is all content that can never appear on YouTube, go over to patreon.com/SantiZach. Head on over there, give it 1 month. I'm confident that you're going to fall in love with it because not only do you get so much more content that never appears on YouTube, but it's a really tight community over there as well of wrestling fans. I'll put the link in the description for you as well as the link in the pinned comment. Just come on by. That's it, folks. If you're a patron, thank you for your support. Let's get back to the video. Now, let's look at Team WWE from the men's side. Now, with this team, I didn't really have like a cohesive story that I wanted to tell. I did just sort of want dream face-offs with one another, but I also didn't just want to pick all of the top main eventers of WWE. I wanted to pick a top player from different types of divisions within the organization. That being said, if you thought that my first pick wasn't gonna be motherfucking CM Punk, you're crazy. This should be everybody's first pick when you're making an AEW versus WWE Survivor Series style match. The drama. Holy crap, that would come about from having CM Punk in the ring across his co-workers from AEW is just too damn mouth-watering to pass up. For those that don't know, CM Punk and AEW didn't exactly leave on the most happy and amicable terms. There was so much internet drama between CM Punk and AEW, legal drama, to the point where it created the hell freezing over moment of CM Punk somehow mending bridges with the WWE and returning at last year's Survivor Series. So it's kind of poetic that we are having CM Punk take on AEW at the show that he returned to WWE on. Now that I'm looking at the people that I've picked, I think there is a bit of a theme here. I'm going with the WWE then, now, and forever mantra. And I think that CM Punk falls in that forever mantra because he is somebody that, let's face it, is over the hill, but has such a recognizable name about him, and he's such a star that you still want to see him, even if he isn't at 100% of what he's capable of. But let's be honest, the real reason why me and probably everybody under the sun would have CM Punk on this team would just be to see the drama unfold in promos and in the ring between him and AEW wrestlers. We obviously have to have Cody Rhodes in here because he is the face of the WWE. You can say that in the then, now, forever, he is the now. But what's kind of hilarious is that he's also the then of AEW because he was one of the founders of the damn company. Not only is this a cool situation because it's Cody Rhodes creating a bunch of dream matches against other mainstays of a different company in AEW, but it's also, just like CM Punk, incredibly drama filled to have somebody that created AEW, was there from the ground up to create WWE's biggest competitor, and then to have that same person jump back to the WWE and now to go to war against the thing that he created. Shit, that's what things like, that's what movies are made of. Speaking of those that represent the now, Seth Rollins has to be one of those guys. I kind of debated between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns in this situation, but Roman Reigns is just so ingrained in like bloodline saga stuff that I don't know. I just kind of felt like Seth Rollins fit the role here a little bit more as being as a golden boy WWE guy. On top of that, when you look at Seth Rollins's like most notorious feuds over the last couple of years, it's always been against guys that jumped ship from AEW to come back to the WWE. So if there's a certified, at least on screen, grade A1 hater of AEW, it's Seth Rollins. Plus, Seth Rollins is the guy that so many people fantasy book when trying to create AEW versus WWE matchups. Like at the top of the list, it's always Seth freaking Rollins. I guess I got my then, now, forever kind of mixed up. I guess CM Punk is technically the then, the past, because now I want to talk about the now, the forever. I guess, I don't know. Then, now, forever, kind of confusing. All but Femi, folks. Obafemi is a guy that's very representative of what the WWE still has in its arsenal. He is what WWE still has to be able to use in the next 5 to 10 years. He is another megastar that the WWE just has waiting in the wings. And if there's something that WWE has above AEW is the ability to be able to point at the roster and say, look at all of these future megastars that we know that we have ready to roll whenever we want to strap the rocket on them and push them. And Obafemi is absolutely one of those dudes. On top of that, he's a great representative of what NXT is all about. So to me, if we're trying to cover our bases for what the WWE brand is, Obafemi's a great choice here. And like I said, I didn't just want to pick main event guys, but there's just so much value in picking guys that will be the main event. And just like Obafemi, Braun Breaker is a couple of steps ahead of him because Braun Breaker is quasi main event already. But like Obafemi, this is a multi-time future world champion. This is a dude that's going to be headlining multiple WrestleManias. This is a guy that's going to be on posters on the side of trucks, on billboards. This is who WWE is likely going to be building pillars around. So if we have the likes of Cody Rhodes, the Seth Rollins of the world, the guys that already are the pillars of the WWE, I think it would be cool for WWE to showcase the pillars that they've got developing already. They're in construction to already be a pillar of the sport. Let's go to Team AEW, and kind of similarly to WWE, I didn't just want to go with like the top 5 most popular main event dudes. And if you thought that I wasn't going to continue with the CM Punk drama, you're a buffoon. You're a fool. I'm absolutely going to be leaning 100% into this CM Punk versus AEW drama. I could have gone Kenny Omega. I could have gone the Young Bucks, but the villain of this story, the scapegoat, is Jack Perry. Jack Perry versus CM Punk in the ring after everything that happened, a brawl out. What? And All In, because there was the brawl out at All Out, and then a year later, the brawl at All In. Real glass, baby. I definitely want to see that play out. Jack Perry is not the best representative of AEW, in my opinion, but I'm not missing out on the opportunity of having him across the ring from CM frickin' Punk. The guy that WWE couldn't get because WWE thought that he wasn't willing to work, that he wasn't willing to grind. That is Will frickin' Ospreay, who is in contention, in conversation for maybe being the best professional wrestler on the planet today. Will Ospreay matches are fantastic. Some people will tell you, well, the AEW style is so unrealistic, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. All right. It's entertainment. It's awesome. It's incredibly fun. And Will Ospreay is the best at that style right now. It's also like a symbolic gesture to have AEW bring Will Ospreay, the big free agent that not even WWE, the big corporate machine, wasn't able to get. So I love the idea of having Will Ospreay on here, and Will Ospreay versus Seth Rollins is one of those dream matches that people have been fantasy booking for so long. It's one of the reasons why so many WWE fans were kind of bummed out that he didn't end up going to WWE, because the first thing that everybody would have wanted is Seth Rollins versus Will Ospreay. It's like everybody that comes over from a different organization just immediately has to go through the grade A1 hater named Seth Rollins. I didn't love this pick because I had this pick last year when I did this video. It kind of feels like just such an obvious one, but he's back to being in the forefront, the current AEW world champion, a guy that's taking over AEW in a current storyline, and a guy that obviously has a ton of history with the WWE, a guy that has a ton of history with the likes of CM Punk, with the likes of course, Seth frickin' Rollins. So as much as I would have liked to explore other people that aren't, you know, the typical pillars like Jon Moxley, this is just too obvious of a choice to not take immediately. And then to round things out, we have the tag team of Big Justice and Big AJ, because they bring the boom. That is what they do. It's a big double chunk chocolate cookie and a chicken bake. I'm just kidding, but it's still kind of sick that they're all elite. We bring the boom. That's what we... Okay, I'm done. The most consistent player that AEW has had in the past year and a half, in my opinion, is Swerve Strickland. This guy absolutely deserves this spot. He is incredible. Time after time after time, this dude just delivers great storylines, great promos, unbelievably memorable matches, incredibly maybe over the top gruesome matches as well. And on top of that, this is another one of those guys that the WWE system had that they didn't really know or understand the treasure, the diamond in the rough that they had in Isaiah Swerve Scott. And now he's Swerve Strickland, absolutely torching the game in AEW. And another one of the obvious ones, like it has to be MJF. There's obviously like several people that could have gone into this conversation, but MJF is a true and true from the ground up AEW dude. He's got an AEW like bet on yourself tattoo, for God's sakes. Like, this guy is, no pun intended, he's all in. He was the big free agent recently that WWE wasn't able to sign. He's the guy that doubled down and said that AEW is my home. This is where I'm going to stay. This is where I'm going to be a megastar. I don't need the WWE system. And let's face it, he's kind of proving everybody right, because he is a giant megastar without the need of the WWE machine. I do think that it's an obvious one, like a John Moxley. Like, you don't really need to debate this one a heck of a whole lot. And dude, I would love for them to revisit Punk and MJF again. That's one of my favorite feuds, really, like, of all time. But then just the interactions that he could have with the WWE universe and WWE superstars would just be absolutely mouthwatering. All right, folks, thanks so much for watching this video. I'm done. This is your chance to leave me your teams in the comments section. Get out of here.